Welcome, everybody, to the bi-monthly RightTool for QuickBooks Online update series. And this is all about version 1.035.2, which basically means the version that was dropped the morning of August 6, 2025. Once you run an update, you should be on this version or something even newer. And I'm joined by the creator of RightTool, the brains behind all this. I'm just a pretty face. Is Mark Coram. And let's walk through the table of contents really quick. So we're going to talk about some event updates. So both Mark and I are going to be at certain events this year. It's only 2 events left, physical accounting conferences.
I added one in there. I don't expect anybody here necessarily to be a part of that one, but
Okay. Let's say the big ones, the 2 big events.
yeah.
So we have Intuit Connect, we have Reframe, and then we have the possibility of doing another RightTool retreat in 2026. We're going to start gathering a waiting list. We're going to talk about, the recap and the lessons that we learned from 2025. We literally just came back from that. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, the slides weren't. It looks like they weren't looking at the slides. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, now I can see the slides.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, I
No problem.
misunderstood something there.
Then we're going to talk about, Mark's going to kind of sort of take over to talk about some of the new features that were added, like some literally added last night and some were added in the past month or so. Then we're going to talk about some recap lessons from RightTool Retreat 2025. And we're going to talk about some the new QBO UI challenges that we have and open Q&A. Now, one thing I wanted to add is our webinar platform is limited to 500 people. And a lot of folks have those automatic AI things that are super annoying. They flood the chat and they take a spot. So it is possible that we'll start kicking out some of your AI assistants in the process because we will send an email recap afterwards and all that stuff. But those those AI bots are like, I don't know, and
they're cool, to be clear. It's just that
cool.
in the context of a webinar,
They're super annoying, particularly for hosts that have to be kicking out all the AI assistants, because it also makes people feel that they're not attending the webinar, that they just send their assistant to take notes and they're not there present, right? Like, we want present people. As a matter of fact, I want people to say, I'm here in the chat, to outflood the chat and outnumber the number of AI bots that are in there. Please, for the love of God, those AI bots drive me crazy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It makes me feel great that there's real human people watching these webinars live. And then we'll do all kind of open Q&A. So event updates. So Mark is going to be at the Xero Roadshow in Atlanta. There's no booth. There's no dinner organized. I don't know how many people in this world actually use Xero as well or go to Xero. We've been hearing a lot of people using Xero as an alternative, and they're telling us, hey, why can't RightTool have a version of it in Xero? And I'm not saying we're not going to do it, but I'm also saying that it's not completely out of the question that we can start building a RightTool for Xero. The challenge with Xero is that there's not that many users, so it'll be kind of a challenge for us to find a market and learn Xero and build the whole thing. But if anybody uses Xero here, put in the chat that you do use Xero. You can kind of see how many people are using Xero. Gives us a general idea, whether or not there's a big enough market for it. So you just type Xero in the chat, and we'll know how many people are using Xero. So Mark's going to be out there mostly experimentally, just kind of seeing what's out there, what people are talking about, chatting with some users. If you are going to the show, say hi to Mark, but there's no organized dinner or booth for that. Then on the big event in October, Mark will be at Intuit Connect. We have I wrote Las Vegas, but it's Las Vegas. For some people, okay. So it'll be at Intuit Connect. We do have a booth, and there's a dinner organized on Sunday, October 26th. And the event is from the 27th to the 29th, and we'll have a booth there. So definitely come say hello if you're coming to Intuit Connect. Put in the chat IC, just type IC if you're going to Intuit Connect or Intuit Connect, or I'll be there or something like that. So we have a general idea. how many people are going. So definitely come by the booth, get some swag. And then if you're a pro user, only pro users, we're gonna email you instructions on how to sign up for dinner. So you could be with Mark at dinner on Sunday the 26th. I am most likely not going to RightTool. I mean to Intuit Connect, just because I am organizing Reframe 2025, which is a week after, in Miami. So both Mark and I will be there. Marcus will be also hosting a dinner on Sunday, November 2nd. And that one's limited to only 15 people because that's a smaller event. So Intuit Connect has like 3,000 people. Reframe has 150 people. So obviously a much different scale. However, a lot of RightTool users go to Reframe. And by the way, we only got 25 tickets left for 24 tickets left for Reframe. So if you've been thinking about it, I would say stop thinking about it. Sign up for Reframe. There's a coupon code for RightTool users. And again, we're going to email all the pro users instructions on how to sign up for either the Intuit Connect dinner in Las Vegas or the Reframe event in Miami. So you will get, only pro users will get an email access to that. So that we haven't received sign up for that yet. And the third thing is we had a RightTool retreat in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It was amazing. We had such a good time. As a matter of fact, I don't know, Mark, if you feel like I do, I kind of wish I could go back in time and just be back there again and ask more questions and comment more. It was just a great experience. We had 50 pro users there, and you guys just made the experience incredible. Mark, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think it was a wonderful time. I think everybody had a great time. Only thing is it was a little bit cooler, but apart from that, I think everybody was happy with it. And I'm excited to take what we learned from that one, both in terms of RightTool and in terms of event running in general.
Yeah. And looks like we capped at 500 people again because of those pesky AI bots. So
they've gotten trickier too, because now it's actually harder to tell which ones are the bots and which ones aren't, which is actually like they got me on that one.
So do me a favor, if you can kill your bots, get rid of them, please. Kill them, disconnect them, because there's a lot of people that want to get in these webinars and they can't. I'm already getting emails. My phone's already ringing. They can't get in the webinar because it says that it's full. I don't know. I don't know how to fix the problem. Zoom doesn't give us, unfortunately, they don't give us the ability to prohibit the AI chatbots, and they really mess us up. But like we now have to pay, instead of $500 a month, like $800 a month to double our capacity, and it's just we don't have more than 500 people attending these webinars. That's 400 is about the limit, but there's just so many chatbots. It's a pain in the butt. Anyway,
and to be fair to people who are asking why would a webinar join with a chatbot, it's not really their fault. It's not
automatic.
It's chatbots, just generally speaking, they'll look at your calendar and anything that's on it, they'll just join it, which is completely fair. I understand what it's doing there. It's just
it's it's set up with your Zoom, so it automatically, like, you're logged in and then there's another user logged in as a AI note taker or whatever. It's not a chatbot, it's a AI note taker. And the last piece here is RightTool retreat waiting list. So if you are interested on potentially, assuming we do it again, to coming to our pro users retreat in 2026, we're super excited. Super excited to be able to do this again. There's a quick explain. If you were there already, you kind of know, but if you haven't, there's kind of a quick briefing on that link. So if you go into the link, it's in the slides, it's in the live chat. It kind of explains a little bit about what the experience was, and then just put in your information. And then what we'll do is, based on the zip code and the state, we don't know the date, we don't have a location, but we'll try to see if we can make it as geographically centric based on everyone here. So, and it was like, it's a little bit of Reframe style. So like we do a lot of conversations and brainstorming and workshopping, but it's mostly around software. Like we'll go back and kind of discuss. We'll discuss specifically, we'll show you some pictures and stuff like that. They're in the slides, but we'll go through all that. So Mark, we're going to go into new RightTool features that were released in the last couple of months. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing and allow you to share now.
Yeah. Okay. Sending the request to share. There we go.
Okay.
And here we go. Screen share to. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all having a great day. Before I get started with everything, just because there are some people who are still on version 34.16 or 35.1, I just want to take a really quick moment to say that when you want to update your extension, at the top right corner, and it should do this automatically, but some people get it faster than others. At the top right corner, there is a little puzzle icon that says extension as you hover over it. It might look different if you're in Chrome. And then once you click on that, there will be a thing that says manage extensions at the bottom. Once you are in there, you might have to turn on developer mode in the top right. Again, yours will probably look different than mine. But once you turn on developer mode, there will be a thing that says update. And once you click that, it will automatically get you to the latest version of RightTool or any other any other extensions that you have as well. So just something that can help out there. So just wanted to put that up. Next thing I want to talk about is just all the new features or updates to existing features. So the first thing I want to show is the new Zen mode icon in the right toolbar. So that's a new thing that you may have noticed in this right side toolbar at the top right here. And what that does is it's a relatively simple thing. If you click on it, it will basically use the Zen mode that QuickBooks already provides, but hasn't necessarily advertised all that much, to make it so that your screen gets a little bit more space inside of it. And this works inside of any page inside of the new user interface. So it does not work inside of the old user interface. So just be aware of that.
And just add that there's also a keyboard shortcut for that. So you hit Control period or Command period. So either
Yes.
Control period or Command if you're in a Mac, Control if you're in a PC. It enables the Zen mode, and it works in almost every screen. If I'm correct, it's every screen in QuickBooks, or at least the screens that contain the weird left navigation bar thing that QuickBooks just added.
Yeah. Just one thing, because somebody said it just went by too fast on the update. I'm going to do this even faster, so just be aware. There is a puzzle piece icon in the top right corner of your browser. You click on that, there'll be a place that says Manage Extensions at the bottom of that. Turn on Developer Mode in the top right, and then finally click Update over here, and it will update all of your extensions. Hopefully that was not too fast for you. Just don't want to spend too much time going over it. If you do have questions about it, if anybody has questions about it, feel free to message me after the
I'll
demo
post a
part.
video in the chat that
That's also good.
I'll post a video in the chat that walks to that process.
Yeah. One thing as well is that I don't think there's a way to opt out of the new UI, or can you opt into the new UI? Yes, I believe you actually can if you click on this little gear icon. I don't know if that's available to everybody.
It's not available to everybody. It's
Okay.
most people have the switch button to go back to the old experience. But
Okay.
some people they're doing an A/B test where when some people opt out, it doesn't let them go back in for like 30 days. So they're actually testing the people that opted out to see if they complain that they can't get back in. So they're doing a lot of A/B testing just on the concept of switching from the new UI to the old UI. So that's pretty interesting as well.
Yeah. So that is one of the features, is adding a little button here for the Zen mode. The other thing we've added is for people who really love it, it's turned off by default, but we have a new option inside of RightTool's options. So again, you go to that wrench and screwdriver icon on the right side toolbar, assuming that I don't mess everything up by clicking the update button. And at the bottom of the accessibility page, let me zoom in here a little bit so people can see it better. There is now an option here for auto toggle Zen mode. So that will make it so that whenever you go between different pages, it will automatically transition to Zen mode, because by default, it will go off every time you move to a different page. So this will help you keep that going throughout if that's something you would like to do. Just two little small things that we wanted to put out there, but something that many of you probably won't know about. So we just want to put that out. And we are hoping to have a solution to the AI bots. I'm assuming Hector's like, oh, got like 15,000 emails right now. Uh, so in Rich, again, Zen mode is just the thing that makes it so that when you are in a QuickBooks screen in the new UI, it will remove all the sidebar and all the stuff at the top, so that your screen will be only what you're working on, essentially. So it can make it so it's a lot more screen space for people who need it.
I
Okay.
personally like this feature a lot. I think a lot of people are sort of undermining it, like it's not a big deal, but I'm telling you, after after going into this full screen in the register or the banking screen, particularly the banking screen, which is the one where we need the most amount of real estate possible. If you go to the bank feed screen, Mark, and show it in Zen mode, I think this is maybe the screen in which and once you get rid of the pop-ups, of course,
Yeah.
this is the screen in which Zen mode is the kind of like the most useful, particularly Zen mode and collapsed right tool, like both combined. If you collapse the right tool and they're in Zen mode and you're doing deep work, like you're just concentrated, heads down, you can enable a lot of columns. You just have a lot more space to work in.
Yeah. And Caleb, I appreciate your suggestion. Make it so that when you press the Control I, it will actually also close the right side toolbar as well. That's an interesting thought that I think is interesting.
Control period or Control I?
Or period, sorry. I don't know. I probably said I.
Yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. So right now, Control period or Command period, if you just press it a couple of times, Mark, so people can see it, it just does
Yeah.
this. It does the Zen mode inside QBO only. But if you do Control Alt period, Mark, does it do anything? Control Alt period?
No, for that one, you have to use Control Alt right arrow for the right side
Right, but what I'm
toolbar.
saying is, if you do Control Alt period, does it do anything?
Oh, no.
Okay, so maybe, possibly, I don't know, if we can program Control Alt period to both do Zen mode and collapse right tool, or maybe we'll use a different keyboard shortcut, but I'm saying just to kind of make it easy for people to remember, or Control Shift period or Control Alt period.
Yeah.
If we can have it enable both, that would be really good.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna add it to the wish list.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Um, yeah. And if the auto toggle Zen mode isn't working, let me know. Send me an email, and I will look at whatever the issue is. It's kind of a weird little quirky thing. So if it's not working for you, I'm more than happy to take a look and see if something's going on there. Uh, let's see here. Somebody's asking about a dark mode. And to be clear, if you're using the Zen mode toggle and you're not inside of the new UI, it is not going to do anything. So just be aware of that. It is
Yeah,
only inside.
yeah.
Um,
Dark mode. Dark. The problem that QuickBooks has is that it has like 100 different screens, right? So we would have to cure. Like I'm thinking that we couldn't just say, "Hey, replace the whites with blacks and the blacks with whites." Like it wouldn't be that simple because QuickBooks uses a lot of grayscale. As you can tell here, there's like even that text is not 100%. That text is actually not 100% black. So it's like some shade of gray. So like building a dark mode, because there's so many grays, will require us to do it on every single page. And then if QuickBooks were to change that page, like it would be an incredible amount of work just to do that. I think that's something that QuickBooks themselves would have to do something like that. Like for us to undertake a dark mode would be very, very challenging.
yeah, and I have seen a thing that did dark mode in like an interesting way that kind of worked. So maybe I'll look at that at some point.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
but
maybe
yeah.
just pick okay, I'm gonna poll the chat really quick. Assuming that dark mode is something that you would be interested on, okay? And again, if you don't know what dark mode is, you could go get a cup of coffee and come back in 2 minutes, okay? But assuming that dark mode is something that'll be useful for you, if you only had to pick one screen one screen to do it in dark mode, one page, let's say one page. That way we can maybe just test it in one page only. That way the maintenance is not insane. What page would that be? Would that be bank feed? Would that be reports? Or would that be maybe register? So just put bank feed, reports, or register. Well, like which page would be where it's most beneficial? So we can test it in one and then kind of go from there. Okay. So there's it's the answer is bank feeds, Mark. So
Yeah,
if we were to try out a dark mode, we could do something like that.
yeah, fair enough. I'll take a look at that. And yeah, and obviously I just want to point out that even if we made a dark mode, it wouldn't be automatically applied to everybody. It would be something you'd have to turn on.
Yeah.
So don't worry too much about that part. Like if you're like, I don't want dark mode, don't worry. It's not going to be turned on by default.
Yeah. Do you mind just for the heck of it? I went into the chat and I hold on, I put the wrong I put the wrong link in it. So I went into the chat and I pasted a Chrome extension that kind of just does the dark mode randomly. Run that real quick, see kind of how that works. Maybe we can use that as an inspiration.
Yeah.
But that could be pretty interesting. But yeah. We've had by the way, the reason why we're having this conversation is because we've had the dark mode conversation in the past. Like we've had people wanted dark mode. It's just like it's a huge thing to undertake.
Yeah. And then I'm sorry, just responding to somebody because they had a good point about how we used to have a feature for color coding matches and everything in the bank feed, and I just keep forgetting to bring that back into here. So I am appreciative of people bringing it up whenever they can.
Yeah. And in the old screen, it still works, just not on the new screen.
Yeah. One of the very few things that doesn't work in the new screen anymore for the bank feed.
Did you try downloading that extension?
I have not done it yet.
Okay, I'll do it when I get the screen back.
Yeah, that sounds good. But yeah, so Zen mode. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. So the next thing that I want to show is that we've renamed the landed cost feature that we had inside of the expenses page. And we're making it so it works. And we might make this as a separate tool, to be honest. And no worries on derailing. We'll do that fine or on our own. So yeah, the cost allocation tool, we had it in expenses. So just to kind of show you what that looked like really quick, is inside of expenses, you've had for the last few months at least, the ability to come in here and you had this landed cost allocator where you could be like, oh, I want to, I have this total landed cost of like, let's say $50 or something like that. And I need to have that, and I wanted to have that be split out equal or proportionally across the different lines. This is a very, very quick explanation of this specific feature.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had this feature available. So let's say you had $50 you needed to add to an expense for like shipping or something like that. You could click update and it would automatically update the amounts so that everything would be to the correct amount and it would be applied to the products correctly.
Yeah, so we actually covered that on the last webinar, if I remember.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we did. So we had that. But then over the RightTool retreat, while we were showing this feature, Melissa Ferguson had the idea of, hey, what if we could have a similar thing, but that could exist inside of the deposits page? So this would be, let's just show it, and then I'll get some people's ideas on what we should call this, because admittedly, I had a heck of a time naming things on this one. So what can happen is now if you go into a deposit and you select the check boxes for payments that you've received, there is now a button at the bottom where it says add funds to this deposit that says allocate. If you click on that, it will show you all of the selected payments that you have checked off up at the top, and it will give you the option to unselect them for the sake of this particular feature. But what you can say is, like, let's say I had a $100 fee or something like that was taken out.
And you got to add the negative.
You do have to add the negative, to be clear.
Right. So if you were doing this in an expense transaction, that would be a positive amount, right? And you would probably have that positive amount already entered in there because maybe you downloaded it from bank feeds and the transactions already entered and pushed. All you're doing is sort of spreading the expenses across multiple accounts or multiple classes or multiple customers. In this case, we are adjusting the deposit. We're entering a bank fee, a merchant fee, or whatever, because usually that nets out the deposit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and you put a negative in here. You say what account you want to allocate it to. So if you have a specific merchant fee account or whatever purpose you're using this for, um, and you can put in that.
Can,
We also,
can you use like a merchant expense or just for the
I don't
benefit?
even know if we have that inside of here, but I could put it in like cost of goods sold or something like that.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah,
We don't have much yet.
yeah,
But
not in this
imagine
specific file.
merchant fee, PayPal fee, QuickBooks payments fee, Square fee, whatever you call it in your file.
Yeah. And by default, we will allocate this proportionally. So, the 5,800 line is going to be worth more than the $500 line, generally speaking. But there's also, you can just be like, I just want to equally distribute it across every payment line if you want.
So sorry, if you put fixed, it would be
Well, I'll just show you what happens.
okay.
So if I do it proportionally, then it'll just put it in like negative $74 for that one, and then so on and so forth. If I do that same allocation, so I do negative 100, and I put it in as a fixed allocation, then that just means it will create, and you can see here, just the same split evenly across all of the total number of transactions, with the exception of the last transaction where we sometimes have to put in an adjustment because you can't divide by 3 perfectly.
Right, right.
And we do put a thing in there.
That's not fixed. The terminology would be evenly.
Okay, fair enough. We'll put that in there as a, I'll put that
Because
as a thing.
fixed. The word fixed to me means I'll put the specific dollar amounts.
That's fair.
Where the specific where the word percentage would be okay. I'm going to spread it percentually. So we have proportionally based on the current deposits that are selected, and you currently have one called fixed that's going to be changed to evenly, which will spread across all the customers. And then we should have an option for percentage where you pick the percentages you want, just like we've done it with the other ones. And then we'll have one for fixed, so to speak, where you actually pick the dollar amounts to match.
Fair enough.
And then maybe if once we have fixed, what you can do is as you enter the dollar amounts, the last number auto calculates for the math to always get there.
Yeah.
Now, question. I see that the reference number is coming in automatically and the description is coming in automatically.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the allocate button?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to see an option where you choose the memo to come in and the reference number to come in or not.
Okay, that's fair. Choose to bring in ref and descript. Okay. But yeah, and then some people were saying if the allocate isn't showing up on your screen, I will tell you what, QuickBooks is liking to fight me on the deposit screen as of late, so there's a possibility that that's something that's happening. It also might not show up. Oh, you know what? The reason it might not show up for some of you, sorry, this is part of the problem of turning it on as a as an existing feature, is that if it's not turned on already, you have to turn it on.
Okay, yeah.
So
So
let me.
if you're not seeing it, you gotta go turn it on.
Yeah.
And then
Sorry.
and the name changed.
Yes.
So
this is now, it was an Experiments Pro before.
And it was called expense allocation.
Yes, it was called landed cost allocator or something like that.
Oh, okay. So hold on a second. So you included this in the landed cost, not in the expense allocation?
I think so.
Okay. All right. So like go into just to clarify, go into Batch Pro for a second.
Oh, okay.
Because sorry about that, guys. We literally just released this yesterday, and
yes,
we're trying to like showcase it on the webinar, and we actually didn't get a chance to think through the setting. So there is a reallocate in expense page which
Yeah.
already has existed and it works really, really well in expense pages. And is really mostly focused on either customer job or classes. It's a different type of approach for allocation. This one is for deposits. And for the time being, for this version, it's under cost allocation tool. So it's the same as the landed cost tool, but Mark and I are gonna rethink the naming of this or where we're gonna put them. So just this might change.
Yeah. To be fair, usually we would talk about that before the webinar, but
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
a special thing where we made it specifically because it was a request from the RightTool retreat. So we
Correct. And
wanted to be
Melissa,
like, let's get it
if
out
you're in the
there.
live chat, just for people to know, literally tell people when you told us about this idea, so people understand how quickly we brought this to life. Okay, like this is why it's a little bit confusing, but the tool is going to be tremendously valuable for a lot of folks. And Melissa, if you could put in the chat, particularly the use case, that would be useful. But a lot of people, particularly doing nonprofits or at any point in time that you have to split the expense to the customer, that's going to save you tons of time. Like imagine not 3, but imagine 10 payments, 20 payments, 30 payments. I don't know how many fit on this page. And we haven't even tested if the payments go multiple pages. We don't know how that works yet. Like for the time being, it'll grab the ones that are sitting on this page, but if there's a pagination issue, we're not 100% sure if it's going to work beyond one page. So we're working through that. So this is still kind of beta.
Yeah. One other thing is that QuickBooks, and we're going to actually talk about this. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. There's a lot of QuickBooks updates. Most of them are actually not too much of an effect on RightTool, but the deposit page and another thing are kind of two of the places where this gets a little bit annoying. So if it's not showing up, then it might be that there's just something we need to do on our side.
Okay.
So we might put out yet another update tonight. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But as you can see in the demo, it works and it allows you to spread it evenly and proportionally across the customers are currently selected. There's
Yeah.
a challenge here for the people that are asking, what about classes? So the problem with classes is the class information is not shown on the screen because classes are typically splits. So you can have an invoice that has more than one class. So there's like no way for us to do the class allocation. That would still have to be a manual thing. However, is the copy down feature working here, Mark?
Depends on the day because that's the main thing that QuickBooks has been screwing around with.
Well, let's check to see if it works. So let's do no. So it works. So worst case scenario, if you do use the allocate feature and you allocate across multiple customers, and there's a single class that needs to be allocated across all of them, you can use the copy down feature and save some time that way. What we can't do yet is or I don't know if we'll be able to do it, is to read the class inside the invoice and bring that out. What we can do, which is not ready yet, is instead of doing a customer allocation, we could do a class allocation. So that is not related to the customers. It's just mostly more connected to the other feature that we have, which is the expense allocation feature, where you can split it by class instead of by customer. So we just have we have to add that functionality in there, the option to do classes instead of customers.
Yeah, exactly. So we will be working on that. We just want to have something basic to show for right now. And again, I'll have to figure out why the allocate button shows up sometimes and not others. Sometimes you'll notice that QuickBooks does this weird thing where it like double loads the deposit screen. Drives me crazy. Anyway, sorry, not going to get on my high horse here. Continuing on. Yeah, otter AIs are starting to empty or are starting to leave. Yeah, I already got an email about the auto Zen mode thing. So I'm going to take a look and see if there's something going on there because it seems to work on my side, but I can understand why some people,
So on Zen mode, the button should work and the control period should work.
Yeah.
The automatic Zen mode, to make everything Zen mode, that's where QuickBooks maybe had an update that's blocking that. So we're going to have to rework that.
Yeah. On to the next thing. We have a new batch editable report. This was this was something where somebody asked me for this. And I said I would get back to it, and then I did not think about how long it would take to actually get this done. So let me add this in, batch edit, inside of reports.
That's still experimental.
Yeah, okay, it's an experiment. Am I crazy? Okay, anyways, here we go. We have a whole spreadsheet of working reports and what we do for it.
Go a little slower, just in case people haven't got into it. So this is a pro feature.
This is a pro feature.
And you go into experiments mode.
It is an experiments pro.
Yeah.
So inside of here, inside of the eye icon, we have a link to a list of reports. So we don't edit inside of every report. It'd be cool if we could, but that would be its own massive challenge to deal with. So at the moment, we have to make it so that these reports are on a like one-off basis based on what people are asking for. So when I go in here, there is a link that says here is the list of reports we can batch edit. And inside of here, the latest one that we've added is changing the payment terms on bills. So for things where you have like a vendor transaction list, you're like, we had the reasoning is somebody had a integration that would bring over bills, but it would not bring over the due date correctly or the terms correctly. So they needed a way to basically update all of those. So if you go to this report that is at the bottom here that says change payment terms on bills, it will open up a report. And I'm actually, instead of showing this specific report, I'm going to go to a custom report. It's in mode. Anyways, that's fine. Because I already made a custom report for this. That's just a little bit easier to.
And to be clear, if you're going to use a custom report, you have to start from the report in the link.
You do have to start from the report in the link. Yes. Very important point.
Yeah. So like somebody's asking, can you batch edit from a profit and loss detail? The answer is no, but you start from a transaction detail report, and then you do the filters to kind of make it look kind of like a
exactly. Yeah. So I have this transaction list by vendor that I already have set up so that I can see the due dates and the terms on here. And then at the top right, at least in the modern report view, there will be a button that says batch edit. And inside of here, you can just select, if you want to select all of them, you can. You're probably not going to want to do that. And you can say, oh, I want to make these all net 60. And it will make all of these transactions net 60 from the date of the transaction, not the date that you're updating.
So Mark, to be clear, you're changing the terms and the due dates changed automatically, or the due dates remains the same?
I'm changing both at the same time.
Okay. So you are not just changing the field of the terms, you're also making sure that there's a calculation being made to change the due date, because QuickBooks, when you use like Sasan batch editor or whatever, if you change the terms, it doesn't change the due date automatically. So like you had to do that extra work.
Yes, we did have to do the extra bit of like actually calculating this date to that date.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's part of the fun of it, right?
And while I have, while we have 500 of you or whatever quantity of people are watching the webinar live, and you're watching this, what I want you to think is, what are those reports where you're staring at a bunch of screens? I mean, sorry, a bunch of transactions, and you're like, holy crap, this particular field is off. I wish I could really quick go to every single transaction I'm looking at in the screen, and I could change this one field. That's the type of ideas that we want, because we uncovered, like, this doesn't seem like a big thing for people looking at just this use case, but we have uncovered a way that we can grab. That's why he calls it a one small step for man, and all that, right? A huge step for mankind. is once we understand all the use cases, we will build all the different things that we can change. So for example, let's just go one by one. So Balance Bookkeeping LLC says, I would love to be able to batch change project names.
We actually have a feature for that.
Yeah, but hold on a second. I don't know if what they're saying is to change the customer job from the drop down screen on the transactions, or to rename the project name. So please put in the chat whether you mean renaming the project names, like changing their names, appending a text or removing a text, or do you mean change? No. So
Okay.
what they mean is that, so we actually have that. So if go ahead.
So we have an option down here. This was actually from a long time ago that we had this particular feature, that is change customer/project on the lines of transactions. So that is one of the options that we have. This is using a slightly older method of how we used to update all these transactions, but it should be working well. Right. Assuming that QuickBooks will load it, because of the fact it's going to be like, do you want to be in Modern Report? And we're going to be like, no. Anyways.
Yeah, do all dates and do bills, something like that.
Let's just do this year.
And do. Yeah.
Wait a minute, is this never mind, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Just show bills, because that'll be easier.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can customize this, filter it, and we can say only show transaction types of 100%. Oh, it's right, because it's right here. Select all, unselect all.
Yeah, just do bills. It'll be a lot easier to showcase that.
Yeah. Okay, now I'll do all dates, because apparently.
Okay.
We're just going to do it this way.
Yeah.
But yes, this would be, assuming you had more than one thing, you could assign a customer from here as well, to be like, okay, I want to have all of this be assigned to John Roberts Project 101. We could just do it straight from here.
Yeah. Which company file are you working on? Which sample file?
This is the Simple Start sample company. So this is the one that has less data.
do expenses then. Do expenses on this one, just so we can have a little bit more context there.
Yeah. Let's see here. I swear I should know my ABCs.
Yeah, it's not logically ordered. Just type expense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Somebody's asking, can you batch make things billable or unbillable? Only for time. We cannot do it for charges or for like expenses. It's a mess and a half with the unbilled expenses, unfortunately.
Yeah.
QuickBooks has its own functionality for that, but it's kind of up in the air how helpful it is. Sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not. Yeah, exactly. Some people have said there's like a hidden feature for it. But yes, inside of here, and I'm not gonna bother doing the ones where it says subcontracted labor deleted, because there's a more than likely chance it won't let you update those transactions.
Yeah.
But yes, in theory, it would come in here and it would change the transactions one at a time like this. And yes, we have a whole bunch of reports where we can change a whole bunch of things. One of this is the billable checkbox on time entries.
Yeah, so, somebody's asking if this is a pro feature. Yes. So
yes,
generally speaking, anything that's doing more than one action, changing things, batching things, that's always going to be like our philosophy is pro would be navigational enhancements. Anything that's doing things batching is going to be a pro feature always. So we got change. Okay, so somebody says batch edit invoice dates would be great.
Yes, we'll definitely add that. Again, I was working on this particular one relatively quickly. The vendor.
Go back to the vendor bill one for a second, just because there's a specific request here on batch editing bill dates. So one thing that we could do, like if you go into batch edit, and then you have the option to change the bill date.
Okay.
Terms to change the bill date is that it's not just that you pick the date, just so you can go back 1 month or go back 2 months or go back 1 year. Like, so not just specifically fixing the date, but being able to push it back a year or a month would be useful. But in some cases, you have a bunch of bills in May and you want to push them back to April or whatever. Like, we should be able to develop that fairly quickly, because it's just a fixed date should be pretty easy.
Yeah. No, we could definitely do that.
Same thing with invoice dates. Angie is asking, so that would be a different report. That would be like a transaction list by customer type of stuff.
And honestly, now that I've gotten this working in this report, if I can find a report that has both the bills and the invoices, which is probably just a different transaction detail report to be clear,
Oh,
I might just add it to that.
here's an interesting one from Christine. Batch copy description field into memo field. So,
Kind
but
of, we can do that. We
right, but
can.
batch, you're saying batch. So it would be like looking at a bunch of expenses
Let me
that
be clear
have,
when I say this, because there's two ways I can mean we can do this. I
yeah,
don't mean we have something currently for that.
right, right.
I'm
We
saying,
should be able to.
yeah, we could do something that does from memo to the descriptions, or maybe vice versa. We'll have to kind of discuss that with people.
Right. Then we have batch editing the vendor. Okay, so Kimberly, so we don't have that from the reports, but you can batch edit a vendor from, oh, they want it from the general ledger report.
That's
So,
fair. That makes
all right,
sense.
so maybe we should like focus on from general ledger, like just building it from general ledger, because that's
Yeah.
going to solve most of the challenges. It's like most people kind of start with the general ledger. I know what people want to batch edit is from the P&L drill down. The problem is the P&L drill down is so random in terms of the application that you would have, that I think from the general ledger could probably be the closest thing that we can do.
Yeah. And I mean, it wouldn't be hard, especially since we've kind of figured out we've kind of figured out the key to working with this in a efficient manner. Because we already had a thing for custom fields, so we could probably just do a thing where we just give you like every option inside of like the general ledger or something like that. You'll have to do your own filtering, which is sometimes annoying, but we could definitely do something.
Yeah. What else you have on the list of things to showcase?
One final thing that's on the list of things to showcase, it's a very small thing. And that is just the fact that in the chart of accounts, we have the reconcile dashboard. We're actually actively working on a lot of things on the reconcile dashboard.
Yeah, we had
Um,
a lot of feedback on this one.
yeah. But two things, or one thing that's already out is you can have a date for last reconciled on. Uh, And Michael, the reason you get that is because if you are in your firm's books, there's technical reasons why we can't show it in there. It's only in client books you can show it, which is admittedly annoying. We are trying to figure that out, but it's taking time.
Yeah, it's tied to the accountant's toolbox,
Yeah.
accountant's review. So without the accountant's review, we can't do this.
Yeah. But yeah, there's two things I want to kind of mention is one, we now have a last reconciled before. So if you're ever in here and you're like, I don't want to see all of the reconciled dates, I only want to see everything that was reconciled before a specific time. I'm just going to use today as an example and then also hide accounts that are never reconciled. Um, we just have this as an option now for people because that was requested and we're like, we should put that in for people. Um, and then we're also going to have it so all of your filters are sticky. This will be in some future update that's very soon. We just didn't have it quite ready yet for this update. Um, but yes, we're going to have it so these settings are going to be sticky so that you don't have to, every single time you open up the dashboard, you'd have to like reset up all this stuff. And by the way, you find this by going to the chart of accounts, and there is a thing at the top right that says reconcile dashboard. And let me zoom in a little bit more so people can see that. My bad on having that
Yeah.
zoomed out before.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a pro feature. This one, man, there's a lot going on this feature behind the scenes.
There's a lot of work on this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple. So we had a couple. So I'll take advantage and kind of like walk you through. So open up the dashboard
yeah.
again. So we kind of showcased in front of 50 accounting professionals at the retreat, and we had like an open conversation about what's the point of a reconciliation dashboard. So initially, it was like a single place where you can see all your reconcilable accounts. That's really what it was. One place where you can see all your reconcilable accounts. It only works on accountant attached client accounts. It won't work on a non-accountant attached, and it won't work in your firm. And this is on the Pro edition, or the Pro edition only.
Yeah.
If you look in the top left, there's filters for the type of accounts. So you click there, and then you can do only bank, only credit card, bank and credit card, only assets, only liabilities, only equity. Again, because a lot of accountants really go through every single balance sheet account and reconcile. We had a couple of requests here that we don't know yet if we can fulfill. Like someone wanted to, like if you see the unreconciled transactions column, and you, for example, you click on that 15, if you look at the 15 all the way in the bottom, that the purpose of that is for it to open a new tab, go into the register, and then automatically trigger the filter, which only shows transactions that have not been reconciled up to a particular date, the last reconciled date. So the idea is that you see only the transactions that haven't been reconciled. So sometimes we'll just delete them, right? That's typically what people do with unreconciled transactions that are older than the last reconciled. They delete them or research them or make sure that they're truly outstanding checks. So you get into the register screen with the filters. So that's kind of the thing. The problem is that the number of transactions you see here is not the same number of transactions that you see on the dashboard. So if you go back into the dashboard, the dashboard shows that 50 number actually means all unreconciled prior to the last reconciled date and post. So one of the requests is, could I press a button and update and only show me the ones that are prior? So that requires additional calculation, which will make this screen load very, very slowly. So we're added to our wish list to experiment on the possibility of being able to update one by one if you wanted to just see the unreconciled transactions prior to the last reconciled date. So for the time being, you're going to see all of them. Same thing with in-bank feeds. So in-bank feeds, the 138 you see there shows both transactions pending on bank feeds that are post the reconciled date and before the reconciled date. That's something also that people want. It's like, hey, could I only see the ones that are pending that are still within that last reconciled period, because those are the ones that typically people have to go and delete. So that's kind of the concept, and we're working through that feedback. Yeah. Go back to the reconciliation dashboard one more time. A few people, like the one particular person said, hey, there are some accounts that have a zero amount, that there's really no true reconciliation process where I just click on reconcile. I just go reconcile, put the same amount that was last time, and then reconcile it again. So the last reconciled amount updates on the sheet. So there was two suggestions to this. One is to, in the screen, to see, like, imagine if there's a button, go back into that screen, Mark.
Yeah.
So imagine if there was a red button next to start reconciliation that says re-reconcile, and it just copies the beginning balance into the ending balance, and then it puts like today's date on it or something like that. So you can like, you're not really doing anything, but you're essentially re-reconciling it. So in the dashboard, it shows that you looked at it. So that's something that's we added to the wish list to see if we can do. And then another one that's a little bit harder to do. So I'll go back to the dashboard, is for you to do that in batch. So like, first, let's achieve it one by one. But the second one is, could I select a bunch of these accounts, click on reconcile all? And again, it wouldn't be a real reconciliation. It would be going into each one, putting the same dollar amount, re-reconciling it without checking any additional transactions, just to update the last reconciled date to last month or whatever, just to keep sanity check that you're looking at all these accounts. That way, when you're filtering, accounts that have never been reconciled or whatever, those accounts would still stay because they would be technically part of the review period. Okay, so we're still talking about, either in batch from here or individually inside of the reconcile page. Yeah. Somebody's asking, is the register balance coming? What is the register balance? So the register balance is actually the current all dates balance in your balance sheet. So if you were on a balance sheet and click all dates, that's what that is.
Yeah.
The
Now, I
last,
will say
yeah,
there is a thing, and I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and accept that it's gonna be slightly slower to load because of it. It won't be that big of a difference on the loading time. But I think QuickBooks does not inherently give me good information on the register balance of like assets or liabilities, which is really annoying. Um,
but the bank and credit cards are typically pretty good.
yes, those are always accurate. And this one, it does have an ending balance of 0, which is kind of crazy. Uh,
Right. Right.
but
So somebody's comment or question here um, is can I get the balance of a particular date? And the answer is no, I cannot give you the balance on a particular date. I either give you the register balance for all dates or the last, if you scroll up a little bit on the headers. And by the way, can we make those headers stick so when you scroll down, they don't disappear, Mark?
yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So the last reconcile amount, we can get that from the reconciliation report. So that's what you see there. But the register balance is an all dates balance. It's not like last month or whatever.
Yeah. Um, One second. Has anybody found that?
And for
Oh, yeah.
those that have to run that assume all webinars should be exactly an hour, fine. Go. We have a lot of other things we want to cover.
Yeah.
So you got to
One
run. You got to
final
run. No
thing
problem.
I
We're
want to
gonna
put out
cover.
there.
We're gonna be another 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 15 more minutes, just for
Yeah.
the people that want to stay a little longer. And we're gonna cover a couple more things.
Yeah. One thing as well that people have been asking about a lot, and this is not RightTool related. Let's see here. Is it accounting tools? I forget what. I think it's just accountant. Uh,
Accountant home.
it might be accountant home. No, it's not. It's not that. There's a toolbox. Oh, I think it's because the toolbox itself is not like any one specific thing.
Yeah. If
But
you yeah, undo Zen mode for a second. Yeah,
yeah.
undo Zen mode, and you're logged in as an accountant.
Yes. Oh, okay. It's now in this my menu part, huh? The reclassify transaction stuff.
Yeah, they put it under my menu and under
Okay.
they hit that. So dumb. By the way, I sorry to say that, but
But
it's
yes, if you ever have the reclassify, want to go to the reclassify transactions things, we do have a specific favorite for that. So you can put that in there as well if you want. Uh, but yes, the my menu thing is new. It's interesting that they put that there.
yeah, they should put that next to the company name like it was before. So they keep moving things, like they're killing all of our muscle memory.
Yeah, I kind of get that.
And one thing you know what I don't like, because you're logged in as an accountant. I don't know if I'm logged in as an accountant or not. Like I find that like I used to like
Oh, really?
that before. No, not
I
the
know, I
company.
know. I'm just this is me being curious more than
Yeah.
anything.
So like when you logged in as an accountant, it was very obvious because you saw the toolbox and it said QuickBooks accountant. But now it just says QuickBooks. So like sometimes I get confused because I do a lot of logging into my client's account directly versus logging in as an accountant. So like that's just drives me crazy. So like just add it to your favorites in the right toolbar if you're finding going into my menu kind of confusing. And by the way, we can add. So for example, go to my menu, Mark, for a second.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say that you used to do a lot of client requests, for example. So you go to client requests there. Oh, no, bad example. Close that browser.
That's interesting,
Yeah,
actually.
but
I'm not.
let's say write off invoices. Like let's say that you go there a lot. Okay. So then you click on add custom in RightTool on the
Oh, yeah.
yeah, custom, and then just call it write off invoices and save it, and then now you have it. And if you scroll down, you can
Yeah.
drag that and put that up to your top 10 or whatever. So if there's a lot of things that you're just not going to rebuild the muscle memory to go find it, just add them to your favorites. Okay, that's probably the best thing that we could think of.
Yeah. And somebody mentioned that their favorites aren't auto loading or like it's not automatically showing up as favorites in the RightTool sidebar. That might be, and I know I'm kind of going off on
Is there?
tangents
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
It might be that in tab management you accidentally have RightTool defaults to manage tabs turned on.
yeah.
Or maybe you like that where you like having it be on managed tabs, to be clear. It's just something that's available to you if you, yeah. So yeah, just something to point out.
Yeah. So somebody's saying it's like a bug in Quick. Can you collapse the right tool navigation bar for a second?
Yeah,
I don't think it's a bug. I think that that toolbox was moved
that
to my menu.
yeah, that toolbox is now completely gone in the new UI at least. In the old UI, it's everything's still there, but in the new UI, everything is underneath where it says my menu on this left side right here.
Right. That's where that's where the toolbox was moved to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who suggests, like who told them this is a great idea. I don't know that, but
Well, that's one of the reasons. One of the things I was actually going to mention, but I'll kind of skip it for the sake of the webinar, is that there are a few things with RightTool or with QuickBooks updating things that are challenges for us. One of the things is that every once in a while, the plus icon will be broken because QuickBooks will change everything over on this side. So if it does happen, just let me know, and I promise we'll get it done like literally that day to fix it. Because yeah, we definitely want this plus button to be working at all times.
okay.
Uh,
I'm gonna take over the screen. Do you have anything else to show or?
One other thing that's not a super big deal, but just something I wanted to show real quick. RightTool usually opens into different tabs when you're inside of a report, but it can't really do that with the new reports for the P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. They're just weird in that way. But they QuickBooks did add the ability to right click to open things in new tabs inside of the new reports. So just kind of a cool thing that
All right,
that
we
I'm
can get rid of
appreciative of it.
the feature that we had that we I guess we built kind of that feature before,
Yeah.
but that looks really that's great.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. That's at least something that I'm happy to have.
Yeah, and it tells you that control click or shift click does that. So
Yeah.
like you remember the shortcuts that will work.
Yeah. So I'm very happy that they at least have some kind of solution in there for that. But
Yeah,
yes, I'll let you go now on this, Hector. Yeah.
no problem. No, thank you. Good job. Okay. So for those that staying a little bit extra, we're gonna go through and talk about the retreat 2025. Kind of talk about some of the event recap and lessons. So we were in Winston-Salem. We had we're just gonna go through a couple pictures. So we had like maybe like 50 or 60 people. There was a couple of plus ones that sometimes were in the room and were not in the room. Sometimes they were just hanging around the hotel or whatever, which is great. So we had that group picture. What they look so faded when I do a zoom. Uh, so we took a lot of notes in big poster notes and post-it notes, and we were kind of ideating ideas. We asked, like real big existential questions like how is AI going to affect your practice, and how is the new QuickBooks affecting your workflow? And then we had Anchor that helped sponsor the event a little bit to keep the cost low for the attendees, do a presentation, which was like, it was really cool. It was the workflow to go from proposals to payments. And we kind of broke down every table, kind of took a step. There's like 9 steps. You write the proposal, you get approval for the proposal, you negotiate prices, you collect payments, like there's all this process, right? So we kind of talked about that, which is going to help them a lot, make even a better product. Anchor has an incredible product, and they're going to make it much better. Like the amount of notes that they took out of this, like they're literally going to build the ultimate estimate to proposal to payment tool for accountants, which I'm super excited about. We also had RightWorks come in, and just gonna go cycle through a couple of pictures. We have RightWorks come in. We did a couple of exercises, like we were building like little towers and stuff, just kind of like part of the team building process. RightWorks took the conversation to security, and I gotta tell you, both, even though Mark and I will probably agree that security is extremely important and security should be important, but it wasn't after this conversation that I realized that security is just about the single most important challenge that most accounting firms are facing. Apparently, we're being constantly attacked, phishing, emails telling us that your client sent you some documents, click here to open them, and then it prompts to put your Gmail account or your Dropbox account or whatever. So accounting firms, tax firms are being attacked, and they really want our data. But it's not just us. Our customers are also, apparently, according to the stories that we've been getting from everybody here, is our customers are very gullible, and they end up saying yes to these things, and then their identity gets stolen or their documents get stolen. But generally, they go back and blame us somehow because they're the ones that clicked on the email. So, and a lot of them are disguised in client requests. Like there'll be a person that says, "I'm a lead, and I want you to give me a quote for bookkeeping or taxes." And then when you send them access to the portal, they know what portal you use. So they're doing that literally just to know what portal you're using. So they already have your email. With social media, they have your date of birth or whatever, so they're triangulating. They're being very targeted. They're triangulating. Once they know what portal you're using, which again, most accounting firms say, yeah, upload your W-2 or whatever, last year's tax return so I can review, or upload your bank statement so I can review. That's how they do it, right? They post as a client, as a lead, which is why I always charge for a diagnostic. I don't even engage into, I'm going to look at any of your stuff until people pay me something. That usually deters scammers big time. Although, I mean, if a scammer really thinks they're going to steal my data, they'll pay the $500 diagnostic fee. But generally speaking, 99% of the attacks, you can get rid of them just by saying, yeah, you want to talk about what I can do for you? You got to pay me first. So that kind of helps. And we had a lot of conversation about that, and a lot of people had the realization. We also had a really cool sort of team building event where we were chucking water balloons across a pond, and Mark was the target. He was a little moving duck target. And, I would say, I don't know if someone hit you directly or if you just kind of walked into some of them just to.
Some of them actually did hit me and that I wasn't really expecting to. So there's some of them, but I was kind of like, it's kind of hot out here. I appreciate getting wet.
Yeah. No, it was a great time. And, the conclusion is we have a gazillion amounts of feedback and a lot of notes about what you like about RightTool, what you wish was better, what QuickBooks or the Intuit world is frustrating, et cetera, et cetera. We have a lot of notes. I'm telling you, the next 6 months in the RightTool world, and both the other companies that were there, Anchor and RightWorks, is going to be incredible. And you're going to see a lot of things that are going to feel that we were in your mind because we had 50 people representing the industry telling us this is what we need. So whatever we have the capacity to do, we're going to be serving you on that. So if you're interested on potentially being part of an experience like this next year, where you come to a place, it's a one fixed rate, is an all-inclusive, hotel, food, everything included. You literally come there to relax and to give ideas. Go ahead and add yourself to the waiting list. So we'll know based on the waiting list about how many people we should, because we got to go contract the hotel first and book the rooms. It's a whole process, right? And there's a lot of waste in these conferences. Like you have to overbook, and because you don't know how many people are going to come with 2 or 1, or like just a lot of stuff. So like we kind of want to get a general idea for like how many people would be interested. Interestingly enough, we send a survey to everybody that signed up. I mean, everybody that was in 2025, and 98% said they would come back next year. So we probably already have half the thing already pre-sold just by repeats. But we got to figure out, can we make it bigger? Can we, like we're thinking through all that, right? So like we're not in the conference business and we're not in the retreat business. But one thing is for sure, the amount of feedback that we got was pretty incredible. So yeah. Make sure you sign up for that. The link is in the slides. And Mark, I know you wanted to cover, some the current issues that QBO has. I know you covered some of them.
Yeah, most of it's already covered.
Okay, but I do want to emphasize again, going to slides. If you're not part of the Facebook group, this is the fastest way to get a response. And the reason that this is faster than email sometimes is because sometimes someone will report an issue or request a feature request. And if it already exists or somebody knows a solution, the community sometimes answers faster than us. Now, sometimes we have to go in there and we have to take a look at what the problem is and see if there's a user error or a browser error or a RightTool error or QuickBooks messing things up for us type of error, so we can figure out the way to attack it. And Mark is extremely quick at fixing the errors, but we strongly recommend that you join the Facebook group first. Even if you hate Facebook and you would never imagine yourself being in Facebook or whatever, just kind of consider going into the Facebook group and just being part of it. Because we can, and like even people look here saying that the webinar is full, for example. So you get quick responses kind of to understand what's going on. So I'm telling you, I think the Facebook group is the best thing, but of course you can always email Mark and he's going to be pretty good at answering. So if there's any outstanding questions, we'll answer them. If not, we can end the webinar. One thing I wanted to add, so I mentioned that there is a Chrome extension out there that can turn any screen into dark mode. So
yeah,
I'm going to show you this. I'm gonna show you this. Again, this is not a RightTool feature. This is not a QuickBooks feature. This is a random extension I found of the extension store that can turn any page into dark mode. There's pros and cons to using a Chrome extension. Obviously, you're deep into the RightTool world, so you understand. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to click a button, and then I want to see your reaction. Okay, so we still have like 250 people in the webinar live. I want to see your reaction, whether this will be useful or not, right? So like we got to figure out, is it worth for us to develop this? So I'm gonna count down. I'm gonna press a button, and the screen's gonna change. Ready? 3, 2, 1. So I want to see your reaction to this. Like, this is not RightTool, by the way. This is a Chrome extension. So the things. So there's going to be. So there's two approaches to this. One is just try the extension, and I'm going to go and show you that extension here really quick. So this extension is called, I guess it's just called dark mode. Wait, they don't have a link. Is there a link? Okay, here. So it's called, it literally is just called dark mode. Okay. It's got 3.6 stars in average, 2000, and probably because every website is going to act much different. And then some browsers have, I don't know if Chrome has a built-in dark mode. Does it have a built-in dark mode?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if it has one or not. I think it did at some point, but whatever. So so you can download this extension and see it. And then if enough people tell me this is if enough people see that and they see this is useful exactly how it is, then just download the extension, right? It's just called dark mode. You download it, it's free, and then you press the button up here in the top, put it back into light, put it back into dark. But it makes everything dark. So it makes everything that you're looking at. Well, actually, some pages, I guess. Let me see. Let me go into Google here. Yeah, so it makes everything dark. So you have to like just keep. It's just like it's a toggle that makes the whole thing dark. Now, if we were to build this, like we would have to figure out, like this is a shade of gray. Like, do we use black? Do we use a shade of gray? Do we do like a control choice? I mean, I really have no idea like which way we would go. For the time being, I would suggest just use the extension, the dark mode extension, kind of see where that works, and then start giving us some feedback on whether or not we should build this into RightTool. But again, it's like there's a lot of like, I want a shade of gray, I want pitch black, right? So just use the extension for now, and then later on we'll figure out if we'll build something like that. I mean, would it be a game changer? I don't know, but that's something to think about.
Yeah, it's always a challenge of it.
Yeah.
And if we did make it, we'd probably have to do a little bit of like extra stuff to.
Yeah, and I thought some browsers had that built in. Somebody's saying that Microsoft Edge has that built in. So okay, that's cool.
I'm sure there's some way to get it, but to be fair, it's weird sometimes. Dark mode can be weird sometimes.
Right, but if we were to build dark mode, it would be more custom. Like we would look at the screen, we would look at the feedback, and it wouldn't just be like global dark mode. It would be a specifically designed dark mode for that page, I guess. So that's why we would have to think through, if we do that, and we probably will only do it in one screen, just like the bank feed screen or something like that, because it would be a lot of maintenance to maintain. And the minute that QuickBooks changes a shade or something, then we have to go back and change the shades as well.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into dark mode, so it depends on how detailed you get with it. If you're like really going in, you're like trying to like really customize it for everything, it's one thing, but there are ways to make it so it just generally works. But yeah, it's a little tough
Yeah.
to fully parse that.
I'll take advantage that I'm here before I disconnect. I had a person say that they're interested on coming to Reframe. So in the slides, I'll just kind of show the process really quick. In the slides, there's a link here that says Reframe Shop Rocket. You click on that. That will take you into the purchase page. And here you would just click on Add to Cart, and then here on the cart side, you would go into discount and then put here RTU. Put here RTU 25, RTU 20 or 250, RTU 250, and I'll give you a $250 discount. So we already had 2 people purchase it. So I said that there was 24 tickets left. So there's 22 tickets left. So if you really want to come to Reframe, you know, and you're a RightTool user, use the discount, and I'll see you in Miami in November. Other than that, Mark, you want to cover anything else, or can we wrap it up?
I think we've probably fried people's brains enough as it is. So I think we're good on that. But I do appreciate everybody. Hopefully we provided some useful information on this. Uh, yeah, well, and Jake, send me an email. Hopefully you have my email. Or you can go to the righttool.com and go to the support, righttoolpro.com, and send the support thing, and I'll see that as well if you don't have my email.
Yeah,
But yeah.
and Jake, when you say change the font color, you mean while it's in dark mode or currently while it's white? Because currently we use dark red for all the additional detail lines in banking. So you want to change the color of that while it's in the white. Currently it's dark red by default, but in dark mode. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll show that really quick for context. So can you see my screen or not yet?
Not yet.
So like this is like the most
Now
classic
we got it.
RightTool feature, which is more details in bank feeds. This one,
Gotcha.
more details in bank feeds, which shows I don't know if it's gonna show on mine or if that stuff. Okay, which is this secondary line here, which is whenever you are using the you don't have turned on the show full bank description. If you don't have that turned on, you're gonna see Intuit's kind of cleaned up version of the payee. And sometimes it's useful to see both the original bank text and the cleaned up QuickBooks bank text. So that original bank text, we have it as dark red. So I guess the feedback here is, if I were to use some sort of dark mode, I would like to choose what fonts color I would use for that. So essentially, I'm guessing that there would be a little sub menu under more details and bank feeds, and you would pick that color, right? Mark?
Oh yeah. I mean, we might would just change the color of like RightTool stuff in general. Like just have it be an option.
Okay, you mean that, so all the things that are red could just be a different color?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea.
I think
we have now to make it black. When we do the black and white color scheme, the problem is in dark mode that wouldn't work. Actually, that's a good idea.
You're like, now I want to know.
Now I want to know. So Jake, if you're still there, let's do this. No, it still doesn't work.
That's interesting if that's how that works, but I accept it for what it is.
It didn't pick that up. Maybe the extension is overriding the color, like even, on top.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that, Jake. That's a good point. All right, we'll wrap it up now. We're way over time. Thank you very much for the people that stayed over. I hope that you learned some new stuff, and that the RightTool continues to help you have a better practice. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.